is demolition day in the bus. So we're gonna go through, tear out the ceiling, tear out the walls, and tear out the flooring. Kind of see what we're working with, because the goal is we want to go through and re-insulate everything so that the bus stays a little cooler in the summertime and a little warmer in the winter. Here we go. So he's just been using a crowbar to...
Trying to put this right behind the rivets and just pop them out.
All right, there you have it. Making do and trying to get the strips off. Explain to everybody what we're doing, because I didn't see a lot of explanation in a lot of the demo videos. So for our panel down here, once we took all the rivets and screws out, it's still stuck to the wall, and my husband found out it's kind of tarred in against the windows. Yeah, if you can see down there, all of this tar is holding this panel in. So what we've been doing in order to get it out is you put a crowbar in here. We've been sliding the crowbar down, prying the panel out, and you can see the tar right here, and then cutting the tar. And then once it's cut, you slide this a little further, bend, pull, you can see the tar coming out, and just keep cutting away. A little bit of a tedious process, but in case people run into problems trying to figure out how to get these panels off, yeah, it's working. These floors are a beast to take out. Now, if you're like my husband, he's still struggling a little bit, but he's making much more progress than me. I am a little bit weaker than he is, but I've come up with...
My side. her side.
He started way before me. He started way before me. I was still vacuuming the ceiling. But anyways, I came up with a little technique that helps me. I'm only making it like inches at a time, but for anybody who's like me, I don't have a lot of upper body strength, is having a tough time with the floors, this is what I've been doing. So I've been taking the crowbar and just inching it under and lifting it up just a little bit. If you want, you can take a hammer right here and shove it in a little further. We're just trying not to make a lot of noise. So just little bits. You can hear it coming up. All right, when you come to the side, my husband cut little hand holes in here to hold it. And now pull. Only getting a couple inches at a time, but it's definitely helping me get further than what I got before.
We did it. Oh, I'm back.
We got the first part of the floor off. I get to use big girl tools today. For anybody who's having a hard time getting their wood floor off, what we did is we set up our circular saw so that it goes just to the edge of the wood without hitting the aluminum below. And we've been cutting lines in the floor in order to take it up, and then using the crowbar to get it up. And when you have tension like this and you feel it not pulling up, that means you missed the screw somewhere. So the tension somewhere in here, this little bugger we missed. Easy peasy. Excited. So tomorrow will be the official first day of the bus build process, which we are super excited about. We wanted to touch on a few things that we learned really quick from the demolition process. Ron, do you want to go first?
Sure. So we learned with our bus, because we have a Chevy chassis, and it's more like the bus half kind of sitting on it, but also from what I see from the majority of people, is that whole electrical panel above the driver's seat. Once you detach it from the battery, the whole thing can just become out. Because all the wires for the turn signals and all stuff like that runs underneath the bus and then goes to the engine, just like it normally would for any other car. So we were able to cut all those wires out. I traced each one individually anyways, not necessarily individually, but as a group, because I wanted to make sure nothing was going to a fuse or to the engine or anything like that. But once we removed the basic power cables, we learned that you can just remove the power cables, the main battery ones for that part, and start the car up and test all the lights. And if they all turn on, then the lights, the radios, the heat, everything. And if they all work, then you can just take every wire out of there once you remove the basic ones.
Yeah, so that was really good to find out. Hopefully that'll help other people that have the same kind of bus build. When you look at all the wires in the panel, if you get a little overwhelmed. One thing that I definitely learned day one is that a proper pair of safety glasses is extremely important. We went with a really cheap goggle pair of glasses, and the first day Ron was under the bus and stuff went right into his eyes.
We got the one size fits all at Home Depot. It was a terrible idea because the size is about this big, and so it sat off my face about that much and landed here and rolled right in like 4 seconds into the build or the demolition. So
yep. And even today, as I was tearing up the flooring, I wore sunglasses and then the big goggles over the top because sawdust and everything kept getting underneath. So spend the money on a good pair of safety glasses, spend the money on a good pair of gloves too. Those are also very important. Let's see what else. During the build, make sure you are wearing the proper clothing. First off, we dealt with a lot of sheet metal.
Yeah, so to be fair, we were taking the sides and the ceilings off and cutting them up into smaller squares because we're doing this in an apartment complex and we have to use their dumpster. So we weren't trying to throw giant chunks of metal in there and take up space. We're trying to keep it small and be respectful of others here.
So the big sheet metal pieces or the small sheet metal pieces are really sharp. We had 3 Band-Aid incidents so far, not bad. But also because there's so much metal on the bus and we are cutting so much that there are little shards of metal all over the place. So for instance, when I sat down on the floor one time, got a little metal piece in my backside. There are little metal splinters all over the place. You will get metal splinters, wood splinters in your hands.
That comes just from the screws. If you're not cutting with the metal, just the screws and they come out, leave little metal shavings.
Yeah, so just be really careful and cautious and just kind of be prepared that you will get splinters, whether they be metal or wood, and try to wear the proper thick clothing for that. I think the only other thing for the demolition process is that it took about 10 times as longer as we thought it was gonna take. So we had a lot of half days of work, some whole days of work. Noise was a really big problem for us. Hopefully everybody else has a better spot that they can work on the bus and not have to worry about noise or cutting things up into small pieces. And I think that took a lot of time too. Like Ron said, we were trying to, puppy hair in my mouth prior to having a dog.
Our biggest noise thing was all the riveted on handicap rails and the riveted on seat parts that the seat clips into. We just took a pry bar and a hammer, put it behind it and pulled it off and popped each one. But hammering down that pry bar, hitting the metal frame, just kind of echoes throughout the parking lot. And she could hear me 2 buildings down. So we really tried to keep that to a time when people were at work and kids weren't sleeping. So
yeah, that was quite loud. So I really hope that you enjoyed our demolition video. I hope you got something out of it. I hope you learned something. For all of those in the process of buying a Skoolie or thinking about it, YouTube has been a huge help for us.
Yes.
Every night, every morning, every second of every day, we are Googling, we are YouTubing, we are watching all of your other videos out there, and I cannot tell you how much it has helped us out. So we wanted to make videos about what we've learned in our build process also, to help the next generation of Skoolie builders.
Yeah, we're specifically trying to say things that we didn't hear said, like how to transfer over the title. Because everyone said we had to transfer over the title, but we weren't necessarily sure how and what needed for that and stuff like that. I know a lot of it's state specific and bus specific, but anything we can.
So if you like the information that we have, if you like our videos, please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Little Backpack Big Dreams. You can also follow us along on Instagram at Little Backpack Big Dreams. So until our next video, when we start our actual bus work and building the bus out, everybody have a fantastic night.